Happy Old Year, everyone. This is Jack and Bulldog, and we're here with our favorite health foil, the guy who is trying to drag us into better health and nutrition, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the whole thing. He's the best. He's Dr. Ben Quist of Form and Fitness in Mequon and Grafton. And Dr. Ben, happy Old Year to you, man.
Thank you. Happy Old Year to you too as well.
Well, I thought we'd celebrate with a cake today. So I got one for you, Ben. I don't know if you'll be interested at all.
That's disturbing. That is, somebody made that. Oh,
Bulldog, do you have? We also want to congratulate you on the hiring of your new trainer that you have. At,
Yes,
gym.
she'll be kind of manning kind of the treadmill area.
oh my goodness. Where'd you find that one? Oh my, that's a.
I can't tell. I'll go to jail.
Wow. Well, I might hire her. I don't know. Maybe.
And of course, Ben, I've been a little jittery lately. I've had a little, some emotional stuff going on, so I had to get myself a support dog.
Oh, I like it. That's my favorite one today. Very nice. Very nice, Bulldog.
Now, if you eat all the stuff I've just thrown at you, more than likely, eventually you're going to eat something called statins. So that's a segue, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's the topic of our call today. That's our topic of our YouTube video as well this week. And it's an interesting topic. I mean, it is probably, I think, the most prescribed medication in the world. Obviously, one of the biggest blockbuster medications, made tons of money. The drug companies, and yet there still is a lot of controversy that kind of swirls around about statins. Do they actually help with heart disease? Do they actually make it? No one's arguing that they don't lower cholesterol, because obviously they do, right? But does that actually impact your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke? And then there's a lot of controversy swirling around about the side effects. Are there significant side effects? Are there not? Are they underreported? Are they overreported? What's going on with that? And it's something that I've been very interested in over the last few years, and I've really investigated quite a bit myself. So that is the whole topic of the Form and Fitness channel this week. So I thought we could discuss a little bit about that with you guys.
Great. What have you found, Ben? What are you finding about it? What first of all, what drove you, because of the popularity and the things you were just talking about, so you were interested and you just dug into it? Is that the story?
No, for me, it really stems from bad family history of heart disease. Got some diagnostic testing and found that I do have the start of heart disease, which was surprising me because my lifestyle is good. I thought I ate a healthy diet. I exercise all the time. I'm thinner, but
anybody who drinks smoothies that he rates himself a C- deserves to have a good, healthy life.
Totally. Well, that's kind of lesson number one of what I've discovered is sometimes no matter what you've done with your lifestyle or what you think you're doing, you can still have some of these disease processes that pop up, So that then begot my physician basically saying, hey, you need to be on a high dose statin for the rest of your life.
Wow.
I'm on no medication. I'm kind of very skeptical of medications. I really would rather do things through lifestyle modification and things of that nature. So that's what really got me down that rabbit hole of the last 5 years or so, looking at anything that I could find to make my own informed decision as to whether I felt that was the appropriate treatment method for me. And boy, was that a rabbit hole. Holy smokes. There's so much information out there, and again, it's like one of those things like with nutrition. You have a lot of really fantastic experts on one side or another who are very well educated, have PhDs, medical degrees, things of that nature.
And with credibility.
Yeah, credibility. They've written books. There's entire books on why you should not take a statin, written by MDs. There are, but then you talk to your cardiologist and, they might say, hey, it's the number one thing you should do if you have heart disease. So again, a very polarizing, controversial topic.
Ben, were you when you discovered this, or when your physician discovered this, were you feeling off, or was this discovered just on a whim, by accident?
So I'm going to ask you guys this question. What do you think the first symptom most people experience that identifies to them that they have heart disease?
Fatigue.
Fatigue? Yep. What do you think, Jack?
I would say something like spinning, lightheadedness or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of common, like maybe tightness in your chest or something. You're
Yes.
can't catch your wind. The actual first symptom that most people experience that they have heart disease is a heart attack. So digest that for a second, so you can look it up online. It is, and sometimes the heart attack is fake.
Yeah.
So you're walking around, have no idea that you have heart disease, and
Right.
first symptom you have is fatal heart attack. So
Oh God.
That's kind of, you can't step in this little more, take a stepping approach to this. No, you got to go all in.
You got to go all in. I think, and it's shocking to me that most people don't know that fact.
That is shocking.
Yeah. I prefer restraint. I like the little, if we can just wade into the deep shallow end first, that'd be better. But oh my God,
wow,
it is. It's a sobering statistic, and number one killer in America. It kills, like, it was a staggering 700,000 individuals died of heart disease last year, and people that actually had a heart attack, it was over 1 million individuals had a heart attack last year. More than the population of Montana. So when you talk about things that really are something people should be worried about, and many things have been thrown out there to freak us out in the media about what we should be worried about, but what people really should be worried about is the number one threat there is to their health and their wellness and longevity is whether or not they have heart disease, and then what they're going to do about it if they do.
Right.
So, and I feel like that topic has been completely sidestepped. It's as if most people just have their head buried in the sand, and they know it's serious, they know it's important, but it's not going to happen to them, right?
Yeah, it seems to me, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly or not, but cancer it's more of the, maybe because it's a longer, I don't know what it is, but it seems like that would be the number one over heart disease. I don't think I've heard the heart disease statistic before, that it kills more than anybody else, than any other thing, but it seems like cancer gets the lion's share of the publicity or news or headlines or what have you out there. Is that, do you feel that way, or is that just me?
Yeah, I would say that as well. Yeah, I feel like cancer gets a little bit more of the and cancer's number two, right? So it's the second biggest killer.
Yeah,
but I feel like the biggest one, and it's a big, it definitely beats cancer by a long shot, and that's in every single industrialized country in the world except for Japan. Japan is the only country where cancer is their number one, heart disease is their number two. So it just shocks me that there isn't more information out there about what approaches actually really work to kind of limit your chances of dying of heart disease, what diagnostic tests you should be getting to actually see whether or not you have heart disease.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you guys say, because you're both middle-aged, I'm sure you've had some different diagnostic tests. What are they typically measured to identify if someone has heart disease?
I was like, cardiogram type of thing, right? Don't they do that?
Do a stress test, right? And they do
stress test. Yep, that's one of them. Blood work, right? How's it?
Yep.
You have high triglycerides. How's your blood pressure? Like all that kind of things that typically are looked at. But there is one test out there that is extremely inexpensive, really easy to do, and basically tells you whether you have it or not. Most of the tests that you just mentioned can miss it. Like they're directly measuring it. Like if you have high cholesterol, you might have heart disease, you might not. It's just a possible indication. But there's a test called a heart scan, which gives you a calcium score. That particular test is actually measuring physically, is there plaques in your arteries, is there calcium in your coronary arteries, and it gives you a much better marker for whether or not you have heart disease. And that's also the other thing that just blows my mind, that is not a required test at age 40. We're measuring colonoscopies for colon cancer.
Right.
We're measuring for breast cancer, but then we're just basically not measuring for heart scans.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you have a pretty advanced doctor or you're going to go to a cardiologist, they'll order that test. But in my own mind, I can't imagine what the reason is why that test isn't like at age 40. Everyone gets that,
Yeah. Did you happen to ask your doctor why that is, Ben, or why that isn't, I guess is the right thing?
I did actually interviewed a cardiologist about that.
Okay.
And his response was really sobering. It was sad and it was sobering. I don't even know if I want to go into that on this call. That's like a whole other call.
Okay. All right. All right, we can save it for another day.
You know,
So
it was his opinion, but it was a really interesting to hear him talk about, maybe why or why not that hasn't become a test that's done frequently.
okay, so back to the statins where we started because we this is all part of it. So you got this. You don't have to talk about yourself, but what so you get you get this test, you have it, they say statins, do you have a choice, or do people feel, are there choices? I mean, the choice is not to do it, obviously, but
Yeah.
are there other alternatives to statins, or no? Is that it?
Yeah, there's other things you can do, but the question is, do statins actually really help individuals who have heart disease or not?
Hmm.
Should they be used in primary prevention or secondary prevention? Should they, so there's all those interesting questions, and that's what's fascinated me, because the couple things that I have dug up, statins down.
Oh, completely lost him.
Hang on, that's all right. Let me.
He was doing so well.
He was on a roll. Let me see if I can find my pause button here. Oh wait, no, there's no pause. We're not recording. We're live. That's right. We're doing this live today, by the way. I should have told you guys that.
Oh, you're not recording this? We got to record it.
Oh, I'm recording.
Yeah.
It's recording.
Yeah.
It always records, but we're doing it live.
Good.
I forgot.
Don't we always, or no?
No, usually I record and then I drop it on Friday nights or whatever, the 7:00 hour. But I thought, what the hell? We'll do it live today. So,
I wonder if he has to know that we've lost him, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he'll get his screen will have gone dark. His screen needs a statin. Scary shit. Yeah. I didn't know we were going here today.
Right. I remember my ex-wife, when we were married, she had an incident where she kind of felt lightheaded and kind of passed out once.
Yeah.
And so he put her on. I don't know. Is a beta blocker a statin? Is that the same thing?
I think that's about. I mean, we'll have to ask Ben, but I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
And she went on that, and she hated it because it made her feel so tired.
Yeah.
And so the doctor said, "Well, okay." And you were doing so well. You're on a roll, and there was your volume, your audio's been better than ever.
You're great today, yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, keep doing whatever you're doing, and then gone.
I know. I feel like yeah. Okay, when I'm on my iPad, my phone ran out of battery. Sorry.
Okay, well, your phone needs a statin.
Yes, my phone needs some serious help. Exactly.
Yeah, I got a question while you're gone. Are beta blockers and statins, is that the same thing? Is that the same? No,
they're two completely different medications.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. They're two completely different ones. So we were just talking about.
We're talking about
that there are side effects to statins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Which are?
Are we back recording?
Oh yeah. We're live. Yeah, actually, we're live. I should mention this, by the way. We're live today.
We're live.
Oh, we're live. Oh yeah.
And we're live and we're recording.
We're live and recording. Yes. So
okay. All right. Well, so anyways, we were just talking about the fact that from what I can tell, it's well documented that statins do have side effects. Anybody that's taken one maybe has experienced the muscle pain. There's concerns about dementia or early onset dementia. There are a lot of different things. So I think there is something to that. So it's something to be thoughtful of. But I did a little research study on myself and took a look at, are there any markers in your blood? And I talked to my cardiologist about this, that actually do track well with whether or not you're going to have a heart disease event, meaning a stroke, a heart attack, a procedure. No one wants any of that stuff. Because total cholesterol does not track with that. It's somewhat irrelevant unless your cholesterol is really, really high.
Yeah.
You could have moderately high cholesterol and have the healthiest heart in the world, so, but it was interesting in talking to my cardiologist, there are some stats that actually track pretty well with whether or not you're going to have an event, some blood markers that are cholesterol related. So for example, one of them is ApoB. There's another one, which is total particle number. And there's another one called non-HDL cholesterol. So there's a couple of them that actually do track a little bit with it. So if you are somebody who has heart disease as identified by a heart scan, you can measure these things and then you can make your own decision. Did the cholesterol medication help me or did it not help me? Looking at these stats that actually track with whether or not someone's going to have an event, so I did all those tests. I took a statin medication for 6 weeks and then I redid all those tests just because I'm a nerd. And I wanted to see. And of course, everyone who's listening to this should realize that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a physical therapist. I am not giving medical advice. I'm just talking about my own personal story.
Right.
But
I'll give the medical advice around here.
Yeah, Jack's
That's right. Jack, this is Jack's
Talk to
medical
Dr.
advice.
Jack.
You know, but what's really interesting, guys, is I was convinced that it was not going to help those stats because I had listened to so many functional medicine doctors. I had read so many books that were anti-cholesterol medication. I had listened to so many different social media experts that were, saying that it's not going to help you on any of that front. And the results were pretty surprising to me.
Which were?
You want me to tell you?
Well, yeah, we're like,
I'm not telling you.
We're live,
okay.
man.
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, you said the results were surprising. You can go specific or not, but as you want. Obviously, it's your story, but you can't tell a story and then not say, "Here's the big ending," and go.
I'm not telling you.
It is
Sorry. So anyways, I'll cut to the chase because I know most people won't go to the YouTube episode. But in my particular situation for myself as an individual with existing heart disease, it had a profound effect on those 3 markers that the cardiologist had mentioned track well with whether or not you're going to actually have a cardiovascular event.
Wow.
Or endpoint, so profound, like drop them in half. While not affecting all the good markers, stayed high and good. The bad markers got significantly better. And it kind of made me think, well, man, everybody out there has got to be a little bit of their own health advocate and look at this stuff a little bit, because sometimes you're going to listen to people who are very convincing that have medical degrees or not, and they're going to tell you things where, as far as what I have seen personally and what discussions I've had with my cardiologist, you would be kind of foolish if you have heart disease and your cardiologist has recommended you take a statin to not do it unless you were having some type of specific really bad side effect with it, and I think you'll find a lot of other people that will not give you that advice, because you can go on YouTube, you can buy a book in the bookstore, you have books, probably some books in your library.
Oh, I guarantee
basically say, hey, cholesterol is, there's books titled The Cholesterol Con or The Statin Myth. There's all this stuff out there. So it gets very confusing. But I just felt compelled to share my own personal story because I like to nerd out on these things and actually test them on myself, just so that, people can kind of have another person weighing in of this personal study of one person. This is what happened in this particular situation.
That's what's great about you, Dr. Ben, is you're both Dr. Frankenstein and the monster.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was fascinating because I got fooled. To tell you the truth, I was hoping I would not have to take a statin because I thought if I, did all of these other things and I take aged garlic extract and I took olive oil and did all these other things, that maybe I wouldn't need the statin. But my blood stats, when you looked at those 3 markers, were still a little bit off. So that might be part of the reason why I have heart disease in my family. Is because our blood markers are not as favorable as other people's are. So, taking that statin is just that extra little bit of help. And one other thing that the cardiologist shared with me that I thought was really fascinating, when you look at statins as far as primary prevention, meaning if you look at a group of individuals that may or may not have heart disease and you give them a statin just because they have high cholesterol, the amount of benefit the cholesterol medication has on whether or not that person actually has a heart attack is pretty minimal. But if you look at a group of individuals that have existing heart disease or have had a heart attack or had a stroke, the information as far as the benefit the statin medication has on those individuals is pretty significant. So, meaning that it's going to help you prevent having another heart attack or things of that nature. So I thought that was very interesting, to denote those 2 things. And that's why it's so important for your viewers to check out and make sure that they don't have heart disease to begin with. Because just because you have high cholesterol, just because you have high blood pressure, you may or may not have heart disease.
I think the reticence of some people to get that test, the heart scan you're talking about, is that they don't want to know.
Yeah, I know.
That's how we work in America.
And I've even heard people say that, that's why doctors don't prescribe it, because no one's going to change their behavior or they really don't want to know. But if there was a way to stop the progression of heart disease, which I think there is, if there's a way to kind of get it to kind of calm down and stop or help it, why would you not want to know in time before you have that first heart attack? Because I got to tell you, once you have one of those events, your heart's never the same again if you survive. Many of them are fatal. You know, so I mean, I think all of us have known somebody that has passed away of a heart attack in the last year or two, right? You know, I've known 2 people have died of heart attack. Actually, knew what, guys? My functional medicine doctor that told me not to take a cholesterol medication, he was younger than me, croaked of a heart attack. He's gone. You know, so I probably shouldn't be sharing that, but I'm sharing it anyways. You know, but you know, so some of these very, very smart people that weigh in on some of these things, you know, are I don't know, you know, so
wow.
Yeah. No, well, it's a good way to end 23, that's for sure, and head into 24. Maybe with a little more knowledge. And,
right.
How about that? Yeah, end it alive, and then maybe live through a whole nother year, and you'll have a better chance if you do a little. If you do this, that's fascinating, Benny. But
yeah, no, it's interesting stuff. So, I mean, my next video is going to be: are there any ways to help decrease some of the well-known side effects of statins? Because there's a lot of people that have come out with some new types of supplementation and different things where maybe you can kind of shield yourself from some of those. One of the most well-documented ones is muscle damage. You know, another one is diabetes. There's a higher risk of becoming diabetic if you're on a statin medication. You know, so there's a couple of these different things that, you know, is there a way to shield yourself from that? So I have a whole nother research study I'm doing on myself with some blood markers to see if any of these statin shielding type of supplements actually work. So
actually, Ben, if you could remove your brain next week and put it in a jar for a while, see what happens. I'm curious. You're just doing all these great experiments.
Yeah, I will. I'll take it out. It needs to
start to remind me of
overheating
from Ghostbusters. He doing all that stuff on himself. He goes, "Remember the time you're going to drill a hole in your head?" Yeah, I would have done it if you wouldn't have stopped me. Well,
that's a great movie.
Ben is out there experimenting, so we don't have to. That's so wonderful.
Right. Wow, that's fantastic.
Just throwing my hat in the ring, just making some observations. You know, personal observations.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very cool.
Again, not medical advice of any sort. You know, you need to make that with your physician or your specialist, really. So, like, if you have an issue with some type of specialty-oriented situation, you should really be going to the specialist for that situation. You know, so
cool. All right. Well,
I rebranded your segment, by the way, Ben. I now call it "Live Forever with Dr. Ben."
Hey, you know that I can't say I have any gimmicks to live forever, but there are certainly many ways to live a little bit longer and maybe live a little bit more vigorously, which I think most people would like that. You know.
And speaking of living vigorously, tell us what's going on at Form and Fitness. It's that time of year when the parking lot gets crowded, and
it sure has, man. I was just down there today, man. It was packed in the gym, which was a lot of great energy, people working out, things.
I'm going there after this. I hope I don't have to be an asshole to get some of the equipment I want, but I will if I have to.
He will. Don't worry.
Well, we do have I don't want to call it a fat loss challenge this year, but we typically do in January or February. We have a kind of, we're calling it a health challenge this year. It's like getting the best shape of your life kind of thing, but obviously some fat loss, weight loss will probably come with that. But we're doing a 6-week program that will be starting at the end of January that I think is pretty good, you know, where non-members can join just for 6 weeks. You know, it's not very expensive, but it's a way to kind of jumpstart and at least get started with something. So we got that going on at the club, which I think is a fun thing, or initial step if someone isn't, you know, exercising currently and they want to kind of just dip their toe in without joining a gym for 12 months. You know, it's one way to do that. So we're going to be putting information out on that next week.
Cool. Nice. Mm-hmm. Excellent. We can talk about that again next week, hopefully on the show here.
Yeah.
You're on Live Forever.
Yes. I like live more vigorously. I like that.
Well, I mean, there's you know, you got to look at that. There's like your lifespan, and then most people start to be unable to do things that they want to do physically in their 30s and 40s because they kind of have let their health go a little bit. You know, they call that your play span, is the span of time you can do all the playful activities you usually like to do. And that usually ends for most Americans at 35 to 40. And then there's your health span. That typically ends around 50s to 60s, where all these health problems start to really come into play, you know. But there is a way to have your play span, your health span, and your lifespan all end at the same time, you know, if you take care of your lifestyle related issues well and listen to your doctor and possibly use medications that are good. So
that's an interesting way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just I hate when people say just live longer. I don't want to live longer.
No.
I've seen too much along life that I don't really consider life after a certain point. But I want
Yes.
the living vigorously within that span.
Yep.
That is a worthy goal.
It totally is. And, there are multiple different lifestyle things you can do that help push that marker out a little bit further. Because really the goal is to have all those 3 different spans end at the same time or as close together as possible.
Switch
You
to
want to still be
cigarettes.
playing tennis in your 70s, right? You want to avoid heart disease into your 90s, right? All those types of things that you hope you can do. And there's no guarantee, but I don't understand why more people aren't a little bit more concerned about it, where it's like, well, if there are these 10 or 15 things I can do that most of them don't cost any money, really, like, why not do them?
Right.
If it gives me this really good shot at a little bit longer, healthier, more vigorous life. So,
yep. Cool.
Well, I'm the outlier here. I want immortality. I want to be the Highlander. I mean,
See, and that's one of the factors that'll make everybody else not want to live forever.
If Bulldog is living
Yes.
forever, it's
Yes.
like, hey, if he's going to be around, I'm just check me out.
I'm checking out.
I'm cashing my chips out.
the immortal Bulldog is at your door again.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Give me the Grim Reaper
Right.
instead of the grinning bulldog.
Totally.
Well, man, I hope you have a phenomenal New Year's of passivity and silence and quiet. It sounds like
yes, meditation.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you
All right.
guys. You have a great New Year as
All right.
well.
We'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Excellent.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ben. See ya.
Dr. Ben Quist of Form and Fitness.
He was bringing it.
That was a good one today.
Yeah, he
Lots of good material there. He always. I haven't been thinking much lately, and he started me thinking again. I hate that.
Well, I have 4 days off. Let me alone. I don't want to think.
My ignorance. I was wrapped in a very comfortable blanket.
Blissful cocoon of ignorance.
Yes. Oh well, party had to end sometime, I guess.
And speaking of getting a potty started next Thursday, the 4th of January, as we say in Espanol, will be the first new show reformulated, right? It wouldn't call it
Reconstituted.
Yeah, reconstituted. That's better than revamped. I mean, we're vamping some of the same stuff. So I mean, not vaping, but we're vamping. And so we are looking at. We will not be on. We'll be doing a weekly Dr. Ben video segment.
We're doing this certainly.
Yeah.
And AJ, of course, does his thing with you. And
Tomorrow, put a plug for AJ. AJ's on his show. If someone remembers, tomorrow at 11, he will be on with us, and he might have to call in. He doesn't know if he might be en route somewhere, but either regardless, he'll be ready to roll. What's that?
Or en route, one of the two.
Yeah, en route. Henri, my name's Henry. Henri. I guess Pepe Le Pew's. People are down on him.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good year for him. Still hasn't caught that damn cat. But anyway, we're gonna be on the radio 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday night. CPL Radio, our flagship. And
we're gonna. Do you have the schedule with you? Do you have the outline of? Don't look at me like that. You got the scared deer in the headlights look. We're gonna.
I don't have it.
The way it's looking right now, although AJ. We're scheduled to have AJ with us. He'll be with us at the last part of the show from 6:30 to 7. Typically, however, this week he might not be able to. He's having a root canal on Thursday morning. He's not sure in what kind of shape he'll be in, but he hopes to be on.
Come a long way with those. Those aren't as bad as they used to be, so that's
cool.
Yeah.
But Patty Hansen is going to be with us. We have her, I believe, scheduled from 5:20 to 5:40. Lisa Curtis from 6 to 6 or 6:20 to 6:40, somewhere in the 6 o'clock hour. Lisa Curtis will be joining us. What will be different also about this show will be that Bulldog, as opposed to he and I being in different exotic locales, we'll be together in the same frickin' room.
Oh boy.
I'm hoping everybody is brushing their teeth before they come in there and take it easy on the don't go to a Mexican buffet for lunch.
That's salami. Okay. Little boar's head for you, Jack.
I finished. Someone didn't finish the refried beans at lunch, so I took care of it for him. So now you're frying them a third time.
Rice baked is good.
We will be at the library in the radio room. That's still
throw stuff at us. It's
yeah. You can see in. You can still see my mug on the door. The original sketch.
Yeah.
That Bulldog's kept up there in honor of us. Decorated.
I did.
Right?
Yes. I might even put a fern in the corner or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Ferners.
Yeah. There you go. Sure. Every week. But no, we're on the radio. That's exciting. That's kind of going back to our roots. And that's what we're doing. And once a week, we will be on the air. So tune in, and then we'll be podcasting. We'll take all the segments out, and you can catch up with the show later on our podcast sites and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And
it's a new thing, so let us know what you think. But
yeah, please
you
do.
You got to give a listen before you share. So we will not be on every night like we have been. Thursday nights only.
Thursday nights.
2 hours. 2 hours. And Wednesday night, are we going to have the Authors Octagon?
Yes, we are. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What time? Is that 6 or 6:30 at the library?
6:30 p.m. Yes.
Okay. And when is the Snobby Cine Club coming back? When is that?
We're doing Casablanca on the. Oh
yeah, I know, the 17th.
I think it's 17th. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
that's pretty exciting. Very excited for that. I think we're going to do well. There's documentation all over town. Our new marketing person at the library has been wallpapering the burg. So,
well, good. Yeah. You might get like 5 or 6 people.
It'd be huge. 5 or 6 would be enormous. I know I'm going to do much better because I brought back free popcorn. So we're going to do.
You ditched the free popcorn?
Well, after the pandemic, it was weird. Nobody wanted to touch things, But now we're touching things.
Popcorn.
Library people are different.
That's for sure. Golly. Some weirdos hanging around in there.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
All right, folks. Well, that's
So this Thursday the 4th, Jack Hankey Show, 5 to 7 p.m. on CPL Radio. Not on the Facebook. It will not be a Facebook Live event.
No.
So that'll be on Thursday. And Wednesday, we'll see Gabby Hayes and the rest of the authors, writers circles. I wrote that one.
Well, wire the governor. Larry Hayes is right about Gabby Hayes being right. Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Lots of fun yet to come. All right. Happy old year.
Happy New Year, everybody. And you'll probably see some of the same people tomorrow for the AJ show, 11 a.m. And I'll remember.
Can your marketing person put some posters up about AJ show at 11 so that you remember? Can you come plaster in front of your house?
Uncle Billy put some strings on my fingers there. That worked out well.
Pull my finger.
All right, kids.
All right.
We're ending the stream. Have a wonderful weekend. If we don't see you again, tune in next week.